maybe not 2 Stargate Void Ray, but almost always Void Ray openings into third bases that don't go down till about 5 minutes 30 is very common. That's something which the Zerg could try to take advantage of. We'll have to see exactly what can be done. This man is the favorite. He is the king of this region, undisputed in the last few seasons. In the bottom right, in the blue, it's nice.
All right, this is his map pick. He's had a pretty nice warm-up series where he's able to get himself a quick little 2-0. Let's see if he can make some more happen in this group. It's the Red Zerg, Rex.
Of course, Nice just joining GG Gaming. That's right, Good Game Gaming, my favorite team to say GGG. GGG.
That's how you know you're gaming. You're really gaming.
Oh yeah, the best type of gaming. Rex, of course, representing Team GP, a mainstay over there in the Asian scene. And, you know, I really am impressed by just the players are so calm and just unshakable in there. Those camera shots, like, barely even moving. They are so focused.
Yeah, and one of them really looks a lot like Expect. So that was pretty crazy, I thought. Alrighty. Well, you do have Rex immediately going for that third base position, not actually straight towards the goal. So he's not eager to get a whole bunch of his drones bullied by Adepts pretty early on in this game, but just going to go for the third hatch over towards the left side there as opposed to the natural, as he doesn't want to get that one blocked too quickly.
Indeed. And, I mean, Nice, you know, is obsessed with blocking the Zerg's natural. He is one of the true believers. You know, I've seen a few more Protoss be like, whatever, I'll just save the mining time. I'll skip scout a bit more often, or I'll go over a little later. Let them take their natural. Nice is like, no. Like, he sends his probe so early that you can't even get a 15 hatch on most maps versus Nice. Like, so if you try to get an obscenely fast hatchery, he'll still be there saying, no, take it at your third base. And that is just, he likes to disrupt them and create this distance. And I talked about it before. His Adepts and Oracles are things you have to watch out for. I've seen even players of like the pedigree of like Scarlet just get surprised by those first 2 Adepts, lose 4, 5, 6 drones, and from there it is such an uphill battle because the Oracles start doing damage and it all just kind of piles on top of each other and the Zerg struggles to catch back up.
Well, you said that Rex, he has that familiarity built up. This is his map pick. Should be well and truly aware of what's on its way. Just a question of if he can defend it and how effectively he can defend it to move into a game from there, because Nice doing exactly what you asked of the man. 2 Adepts straight across the map, Oracle being chronoed out as well, and the follow-up is more Adepts as he moves through the probe. So let's see how many drones do get taken out here. 2 Queens already in position there, Pig.
Ooh, the Adepts playing it kind of carefully for now, as they do see the drones pulling back. But as long as those Adepts are alive, it's not over. So far, great Queen positioning. Ling speed's finished, and the Lings will get on top of this. So far, Rex has handled this probably the best I've seen of... I've cast Nice so much in the last month, and I don't remember the last time we got to 4 minutes without him taking down a drone or 2.
There you go. Shade in. Does actually finish it straight on top of the drone. So a nice couple of little attacks in there. Stasis Ward to try to disrupt the gas and gets a whole bunch of drones. Those not being pulled effectively enough, unfortunately. And the Shade out at the last second doesn't even lose an Adept. Goes straight in towards the natural there.
This is it. The famous, just the way he micros these Adepts in and out. The Zergs seem to think they're prepared, and they very rarely are. Very unfortunate turn of events. Oh, he even recalls and saves both of them. But I was going to say, yeah, Rex's drones popped just as the stasis was going on. It was like such unfortunate timing. Oh, Oracle's getting even more workers here. Okay, this is stacking up in a bad way. The 3 Queens get a little bit of damage. He is droning very well throughout. Is Rex, and remember, Nice often doesn't take a quick third. I was saying, you know, 5 minutes 30 is often when it goes down for him, and that's because, why? He's non-stop building Adepts and sending them across, non-stop building Oracles, and he likes to take all 4 gases before moving down. So he's going to go to the third base now, and Rex, I think his Zergling is going to see, is that a bunch of Adepts coming out the front? So it looks like we'll have an Adept-Oracle combo round 2 or 3.
Yeah, you do see a swell of Lings in anticipation of the attack, a Roach Warren as well, which probably won't be there done in time with the Roaches in tow to be able to deal with these couple of Adepts shoving at the front. That's a lot of scary Oracles as well. 3 Oracles, and only now with these harassment units does Nice start to dive in. He is teching up behind this as well. You're talking about the third Nexus, but he's also just going straight into the double Robo, so really starting to diversify his tech and switch gears a little bit and just utilizing these harassment units for some damage, for some map control, keeping the Zerg on the back foot for the time being.
Yeah, Nice, like he likes to play very reactive from here. The double robo is because he's expecting, potentially a Roach Queen walk or something like that. But depending on what he sees, if he thinks it's mutas, he'll just swap into Phoenix production. If he thinks it's some sort of big walk across the map, there's a good chance he drops a Robo Bay and goes for some sort of big Colossus timing. Nice is very good at doing big Colossus Stalker timings. And he'll often even add a bunch of Archon in there just as extra meat. And I've seen games where it looks like Nice is getting battered by the Zerg all game long, but he will build such a good, old school death ball with 3 or 4 Colossus, bunch of Immortals and Archons, Stalkers supporting it. And sometimes the Zerg players just cannot stop it. It just slowly plows through the production of the Zerg, and everything they throw at it just gets absolutely shut down.
Being very efficient at keeping these units alive. Those handful of Adepts, handful of Oracles as well, not being, not going on any suicide missions for the majority of this game until this point where he does start to dive in, try to get some damage done. And it's so many prongs right now for Nice. This is excellent to watch. Oracles go in, Adepts go in at a different location. Void Ray starts zapping the gold base simultaneously. Love to see it. This has got to be difficult for Rex to handle.
Yeah, that's one of Nice specialties, just the Void Rays, hey, if I can, create enough chaos elsewhere, that maybe kills a hatchery, right? The Adepts get a few drones, the Oracles get a few drones, and the Oracles have been preserved as well, which gives a lot of map presence as this goes on. Now, Rex is actually going Swarm Host off this Infestation Pit, which is fascinating. A great siege unit. I don't think there's a Nidus Worm, though, and getting across this map to actually launch those Locusts, that's going to be really difficult.
No crazy amounts of those Void Rays or anything like that, but there was some decent Immortal production. You obviously do see the swell of Gateways as well as he's starting to shift into those Colossus. Again, these Oracles, so much value, man. They just never seem to die, never being mismicroed, never being put out of position. The full switch away from the Immortals, which will do a pretty good job of chewing through some of those Roaches or some of those Swarm Hosts as well if they're able to get on top of them, but now starting to go into those Colossus and Thermal Lance production. Just more and more damage out of these Oracles as well, doing a good job of slowing Rex down and staying pretty even in terms of the economy, all things considered, until this gold base does finally start to get saturated now.
These Swarm Hosts, very good versus Sentries and Stalkers if they can stand and fight with them. Very good at throwing them into bases as well. But Colossus will be exceptionally good at clearing them out, and this seems like a bit of a slow walk across the map. I'm not sure if this is going to be particularly effective for Rex, just because he's breaking the rocks down, he's getting the creep out, but it's just taken so long to get going. And, oh man, the Oracles, even now, a few more workers going down to them. Void Ray slowly trying to pick away. The first 2 Colossi are out in the field, and the 3rd and 4th are on the way.
Now, finally, you do start to see those Swarm Hosts getting in position, but a lot of energy built up on those Sentries means that he can just wait out the majority of these Locusts, and even when you do get further into some of these attacks, he's going to be able to utilize the Thermal Lance once it's finished up, as well as some of those Force Fields to just limit the effectiveness of those Swarm Hosts. But Rex, as long as he's able to continue to take more map control, continue to push this creep forward, then he can potentially get more value out of those.
Obviously, it does get sniped. Nidus Worm now going down as more and more Swarm Hosts come in, but so the way Swarm Hosts work on a fundamental level is that they throw out units which don't cost you anything, but they have a very long cooldown, and the Swarm Host is very supply intensive at, I believe it's 4 supply, maybe 3 per Swarm Host, somewhere around there. They changed it once or twice, I'm not sure where it's settled, but it's a lot. Essentially, for a unit that can only fire Locusts once every 40 seconds, it's just, it's not that much. He's going to see if he can find an angle here. That's a big amount of ranged firepower. Disruptors being added in as well, which are going to be so effective at zoning out the Roach Ravager.
Oh, you got the Swarm Host just being able to get on top of the majority of this army as you see Rex actually shoving down towards this south side, trying to get some pressure on these Nexus, but this is just being controlled so well by Nice. Force fields on one side, Stalkers just chasing down the majority of these units. As you were talking about, all of the Swarm Hosts on cooldown, and as soon as the Locusts are dealt with, Rex just has to go back on the back foot until this cooldown is up.
Ooh, the Roach Ravager accidentally moved commanding in a little bit into those Stalkers, and Nice, he senses victory within his grasp. He's just going to push on in. He knows those Locusts aren't here, so he takes a fight, just blinking right on top of the Roach Ravager. And even though the Swarm Hosts are going to come out, look at that, they're going to land there. The Disruptor shots. Oh, actually, it's the Queen. Doesn't clear Locust, and the Colossus walking into it. Nice! With some sloppy army control moving into those Locusts. Oh my lord, he just threw away a lot of units.
Yeah, he lost a lot, but at the end of the day, Rex just doesn't have anything that shoots back. And Nice, sloppy micro, not ending up mattering too much, is able to take that first game. So Blackburn not going to be going the way that Rex necessarily wanted it to, and he's going to end up dropping the game despite, you know, showing a pretty funky little strategy there. I don't think I've seen Swarm Hosts in ages.
Definitely not quite like that. Definitely, they're still a good unit. I think they're still great. And we occasionally see someone bring them out and just, you know, smash a top-level Protoss who doesn't see it coming. But it's all about that momentum. It's all about those early waves. Rogue, one of the most famous Swarm Host abusers, the reason he was so successful is he would rush to them. He would scout what the Protoss is doing. He would rush to them faster than anything else. Off the back of a handful of Zerglings, bam, there's 10 Swarm Hosts. And they're popping out of a Nidus Worm and throwing Locusts into your third mineral line. But this was obviously just that great harassment from Nice. Already got a bit of momentum. And I think we didn't get to see kind of the crisp push that Rex was hoping to go for. I think he was hoping for a smoother opening. But as it was, the Locusts did almost nothing in this opening stage. And the trick is, these units aren't that mobile from the Protoss or good at clearing the Locusts, really. They really aren't. But the thing is, they're good at evading them. You got force fields that can kind of zone out your ground army. Colossus do clear them well if they clump up. So do the Disruptors. So I think you need to find a way to throw them into a base, into the economy. That's the only way you can kind of force that army to stand and trade. Otherwise, it's just too agile. The Stalkers just blink back as they get in trouble. The Sentries force field down. And Nice showed such calm. It didn't feel like he was under pressure at all there.
Yeah, it was interesting strategy from Rex, obviously on his map picks. So now that we're moving on to a more standard kind of map, I'd be interested to see if he's got something funky prepared or whether he's going to go for a little bit more of a standard strategy. Either way, we will have to wait a little bit longer to get the answer to that question, and we'll be going to a short break. So stick around. We'll be back soon with the second game of this series. Thanks for sticking around and listening to the bangers. We are back into the middle of this series now. I've gotten through that first map, and it was an interesting one. Got to see some mushroom men walking around on sorry, not Beckett. It was Blackburn. I always get them confused with the names, but I'm going to be joined once again by Pig, and we're getting now into the thick of things onto Romanticide, and I think it was Atmospheres was the last one. So some more open boys coming up.
Yeah, definitely some options for some different plays. I think none of these maps is really good for that sort of swarm host play we saw. You're going to need Nidus Worm 100%. So definitely, I think that situation, that opening was not the right spot to play that against Nice. I think definitely I want to see something, a little bit more standard from Rex here. Sorry, not expect. He's just dispatched of expect. I feel like he has good openings a lot of the time, and in the last few seasons, it hits a point in the mid game, and it feels like Rex doesn't have a next step that can compete at a top level with a Nice or even a Haas. Really, it feels like he kind of just burns out in the mid game a little bit, and it's cool to see him try and make a play there with the swarm host. But I guess that's the area where I want to see what he can do. Hopefully, with a better opening than that last game as well. And I mean, we're going to find out. It's a very big map in Romanticide, a big macro map, so he's kind of forced to play a longer game. A very common one here is seeing if you can sneak out the Spire, get some surprise Mutalisks. But it's actually not bad for popping up Nidus Worms, because you can kind of throw them across the ledges and the terrain and that sort of stuff. So perhaps he's becoming a swarm host expert, and he's going to try that every game.
Do you think it's a side effect of the familiarity, trying to try something a little bit cheeky, a little bit out of the sort of normal running of things to catch an opponent off guard, or?
Yeah, potentially could be. I think you got to go even harder though into the surprise factor, right? It's like, all right, yeah, man, let's just see if I can get away with being really greedy and throw a Nidus up in the back of his main base or something while I'm doing a Zergling run by, or like I guess on Blackburn, that last map, there's like the slow zone just next to the main. Maybe throw a Nidus up there and see if you can get away with one or two surprise waves of locusts before it gets cleaned up. So I would love the surprise factor to come out. I think it's a good way to play against Nice. Nice has shown with these sort of builds, he invests so much in his harassment that he really needs a solid read on what his opponent's doing before he kind of picks his next step. So a lot of the times you'll see him get kind of tricked, and he'll be building a whole bunch of Phoenix, and they don't even build any Mutas, and then he's building Disruptors because he thinks he's getting pushed by units on the ground. And then he just kind of awkwardly meanders his way towards carriers as like, the fourth option. And he has these big windows where he can get killed in those sorts of games. So I've seen some really top tier Zergs find those weaknesses if they can kind of trick him and, disguise what they're doing, or if they get scouted, swap down a different path.
I'd be interested to see if Rex does come up with something like that. I mean, even in O's, for example, watching some of these games, I've seen some players play some of the stronger players in the region, and even with the Dream opening, the Dream start, have a little bit of trouble when someone has as strong fundamentals as this man that you see on your screen. He is up 1-0 in this series. Let's see if he can finish it off swiftly. It is the blue Protoss. Nice.
Underdog is going to have to come out with something special. Let's see what he's got in the bottom right. This is Rex.
So many esports teams with animal logos. An owl is definitely one I would love to say I haven't seen before, but I have. Usually it's a wolf. A wolf is like the instant choice of everybody. I've seen so many wolf logos.
Yeah, the occasional dragon, but then there's like, it's kind of funny, right? Like how many countries have like crests with like lions on them? And I'm like, do even half of those countries have lions like native in their country? Like, I'm like, were they ever like, I'm sure you could look at it. I'm like, that's what people are like. Well, it's a strong animal.
Does UK
and we're
have
strong.
a lion?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
British lions,
right?
very famous.
Down in Coventry, lots of lions out there.
Absolutely. Let's just get an emu for one of these logos. That's what I'd love to see. I've already seen a kangaroo. on an Aussie esports team. That would be excellent. Again, you do see Rex. He has to take the hatch at the old third position. And he's going towards his gas, going to get himself up some speedlings and do the macro dance as always.
That probe going to back off now. Steal 5 minerals, get out of there before the Zerglings do pop. And this Overlord going to be what Rex is relying on for his scouting. So he's going to see, does Warp Gate start up or not? And nice, does start it up. But we'll keep our eyes on it and see if that gets cancelled for a Stargate. Looks like no. So, looks like we might actually get to see the Twilight build coming out here, potentially.
Quicker glaives, perhaps, as opposed to the Stargate. But no, it is a Stargate after Warpgate. So potentially throwing off the Overlord a little bit. Very, very quick Adept moving across the map rather than sitting back at home. Rex staying active with a couple of Lings, just zooming around the map there, but mostly just droning up, relying on a couple of Queens.
And indeed, that Warp Gate, you know, it might lead into Rex being a little bit safer against the ground, not realizing that first Oracle could come in and do damage already. Adept does force a Spore Trick, doesn't manage to get any kills though, and retreats for the moment just to heal on up. It's going to head home, so not going to be going for the double Adept pressure super early this time around, but often comes across the map once there's a Stargate unit out to escort them anyway.
Dude, whatever that, like, plushie that Nice has got in the background, I want one of those. If anyone in the chat knows what plushie that is, I want to buy one. Looks like a surprised bear or something like that. That's Poggers.
Yeah. I feel
That's
like
probably the secret to his power, dude.
Mane, a wise beard or something like that. Maybe they tell him what builds to play.
True. He's got his little council of advisors sitting back there, spectating. Love to see it. We do get the Void Ray out. Does zap away that Overlord. That's a bit of a quicker Nexus than the 5 minutes or whatever it was, I think. Was it 5 minutes last game?
Yeah, it was like 5:15, 5:20 maybe even. And yeah, this is like more of like the classic, just super quick third that a lot of people are doing with Sky Toss. So I would probably bet on Nice building like, oh, wait. I was going to say like a billion Void Rays, but no, because he's building a gateway in the bottom left, I believe. He's hidden a pylon in the bottom left of the map, and he does have a proxy 4-gate build, but no, it's just Adepts for now. Oh, he's just warped 2 Adepts in for secret. Ah, okay, so it is still going to be just a Skytoss build, but he's just adding a few Adepts in from the edges of the map, and surprising Adepts of the nastiest kind.
Dude, the multi-prong harassment in from Nice, always on point. The Lings were well positioned. What's this Oracle going to get done in the background? Actually does have the Stasis Ward, which is not pulled. That's a lot of drones getting locked down there, so they're not going to be able to continue mining. Fair bit of the income getting hamstrung very nicely.
Yeah, just a little twitch in the face there of Rex once he looked back and saw it. It's frustrating, that is. Oh, I just got a flashback of the first time we saw, I think it was Stats maybe, in 2017. It was the first one who showed us how annoying stasis trap harassment could be. And I remember Sue literally got whole mineral lines frozen like 8-9 times in one game and just didn't pull a single time. He just never noticed it. He was so reliant on hearing the attack warning that his Spore Crawler and his Queen defending. You know, they'd always just do it from the side of the mineral line. And it was just like, just a dark comedy at a certain point. His drones were frozen more often than they were mining. And we were like, oh, okay, this is actually quite powerful. Before that, everyone thought it was just nowhere near as good as actually killing the drones.
Well, we're talking about a cheeky Spire coming out. Well, the revelation is going to mean that gets scouted pretty quickly there for Nice. He's got a pretty good read on what's going on. You did have Rex who added all of those gases simultaneously to try to get his gas count zooming up there pretty quickly, but he's going to lose one of those, so potentially harming the muted count later on as these Void Rays stay active. And meanwhile, back at home, Nice getting his economy safeguarded, adding a little bit of static D and getting himself a Colossus Den as well.
Void Rays, and yeah, going into that bay there, definitely could be Colossus, could be safety disruptors as well. And with +1 air on the way, I think we're going to see maybe safety disruptors and just going up in towards carriers from there. But Rex has got the Spire. I think he got the Infestation Pit as well. So he's kind of got the flexible option of, hey, which direction will I go to? Oh, we forgot the Overlord on the high ground, but that's okay. It looks like he had just enough vision. He's trying to get that drone in range of it. Finally, he's going to move it over to the left. It does set off the stasis trap. So, so far, quite well handled by Rex. Yeah, he's at 83 workers super early, going to 90 workers now, making a melee upgrade. And what we've seen recently is Dark has really ushered in a new age Zerg, dealing with Skytoss with units which even the noobest of us can handle. And that is make mass Space Cow just plow through the ground units that usually give you so much trouble, Psy Storm Archons. And then you just have to be, do a bit of Corruptor Viper and pick off some carriers, parasitic bombs if there's lots of Void Rays, and slowly wear them down. What worries me is that Rex is still massing Queens, and past a certain point, massing Queens are good for defending, but they're not really ever good for attacking. So they'll keep you alive, but I actually think Rex has a good enough economy that he could be going straight towards Ultra Corruptor Viper, and I think he doesn't really need any more defensive tools here, because I actually think he's the one who could be very aggressive in this game. I'm just worried that he's going to do the same thing we've seen 1,000 times on Romanticide, which is Zerg's push with mass Queen Corruptor into Void Ray Shield Battery, and trade 36 Corruptors and 12 Queens for 2 Void Rays, which it's a little painful to watch as a Zerg fan.
We almost made it to the triple digits drones. I was getting excited there, and then he added himself a couple more spores and added himself an Evo chamber, and I got real sad.
Though. 7 more. 7 more. Way! And then he's back under her. Aw.
We're going to be here for a while. It's crazy to me, with obviously it's quite a while ago now, but I played most of my time in wings and hots. But it's crazy to me that the time is 9 minutes and here we are sitting watching the tier 3 tech rolling around and the carriers come out.
Well, literally every piece of tech coming down now for Rex, isn't it? It's double Spire, Hive, Bane Nest, Pathogen Glands, double upgrades for the ground units. And he's looking for a 5th base is nice right now. Rex just chilling and letting him get there. So I think the one thing missing here is maybe some attempts to do some Baneling run bys and that sort of stuff. It's hard on Romanticide when they're on 3 base, but once they get to 4 and 5 bases, there's plenty of angles. So that's the one thing that's missing. I think the Protoss is a little more fragile at this stage as they spread out, and just giving Nice a little bit of an easy time, which worries me just because I know how damned good Nice is in late game.
Yeah, neither of these players really being slowed down whatsoever. 90 workers for a Protoss. That's not something I've seen for a little while either. As he's got the Zoomy Void Rays. This is terrifying. Definitely don't want to be getting caught out of position or you're going to be losing yourself a hatchery pretty quickly.
There's already 19 spores on the map, 9 more on the way, going up to 28 spore crawlers. So going to be just covering the map in that static defense. And indeed, I think Rex has done it pretty well. If you're going to play the late game, you need to have extra spores to help deal with those carriers everywhere. And spores cost drones. So you need to overbuild drones. And in fact, Rex is maybe actually building his spores too quickly. As you can see, his mineral count staying so low that it's almost like, hey, you actually should be building more drones, even though he's dipped above 100 like once or twice. He's spending his money so well. So I think Rex really is respecting how scary some of those carrier attacks can be.
Alrighty. Pretty even in terms of income. Still a couple more bases as these players could try and get themselves. Mostly sucking up that 4th and 5th base of income as the main and natural starts to mine out. Void Ray staying active on the map as we are moving into that Greater Spire and looking to potentially get himself some upgrades. But I would be surprised. Is he really going to make any Broodlords here, or is it all just Corruptor and upgrades?
Well, I don't think we've seen any Ultras actually get built yet, right? So I think Ultras are amazing, and I think you want to have kind of a few more of them than is necessary in a lot of cases. In this case, there's only a few High Templar on the ground, so it would actually be really cool for Nice to get a Warp Prism and just tuck those High Templar in there so that you can Storm drop and Feedback drop. That way, Ultras, Banelings can't really clear them out. As it is, there's nothing for Rex other than a handful of Zerglings and some Queens, which don't really do much, to deal with the High Templar. And he does need to take those out if he gets pushed into. So he hasn't decided yet, am I going to make Broodlords? Am I going to make Ultras? He's kind of just ignoring the ground as a problem and just focusing purely on Mass, Spore Crawler, Corrupted Viper, Infester.
Yeah, he's got a couple of those Infestors. Is he trying to fungal the clump of air units? Can he? You could still neural that mothership, right? Is that even worth it?
Yeah, I mean, if you can pull it away and just focus it down, abducting it, anything to kill it quickly is the most. Its abilities aren't that good. That's a great cancel. Microbial Shroud could feature a lot as well. The big old orange cloud, because when you've got this many Spore Crawlers and Queen, often going to end up with carriers trying to plow through those, and being able to reduce 50% of that damage is massive. So as long as the Infestors are able to back up the Queens and the Spores, the carriers and the Void Rays won't be able to push through that.
Oh, here we go. Our Broodlord. He just... it feels like Rex is trying to get one of everything at this point. Trying to build this little Zerg Noah's Ark and sail off into a reality where he can potentially win himself this series. So far...
Definitely wants to keep the options open.
Yeah, true. Never know if you want that.
Spores.
Are we ever going to see some kind of crazy like switch to like all Ling or anything like that if we get to a certain point in the game?
I'd definitely like to see some giant Ling run buys if things open up, but in this sort of game where you've both sat back this much, it's only really going to be on like these sort of new bases, right? And because Rex doesn't have like Broodlords pushing elsewhere, I think the only way we see it happening is if, you know, the game gets super chaotic and they kind of both clear a bunch of each other's bases off the map, and then it resets a little bit and they start retaking those bases, but all the static defense is gone.
I'm trying to... I always get interested in games like this. So like, how do you win this as nice? You start to like siege spores and stuff like that and just edge yourself out, sort of controlling the map and things like that?
Yeah, you just want to, basically build your cannons and batteries forward. Make sure you secure the middle bases. If you get to mine an extra base over your opponent, you definitely win. But generally speaking, if you can just look for those good positive trades and secure halving of the map is the big thing. And usually in a bit of a stalemate kind of trench warfare situation where you're both a stone's throw from each other, Protoss does well, but he's going to try and break it with a recall in the main. This is one of Zest's favorite moves. Oh, no, he's not. I don't think he's... No, he wouldn't. Oh my god, he's just going to fly right past. Really? Oh my
he's
god.
able to get it off in time. That's a lot of Protoss units in towards the main. Rex starts to reposition. You are going to start to see those spires go down potentially. So maybe those upgrades not going to be able to finish. The hive may go down as well. A lot of tech units going to have to be rebuilt already. On top of that is Rex just
the
getting
spells,
both
though.
of those spires.
Fungal Parasitic Bomb combo did so much damage. Where's his anti-air though? He's got nothing to capitalize on it. There's just not that much Corruptors.
Oh, yeah. They're starting to get melted away. I mean, that is a lot of transfusers, but the Queen's not really being too useful. A lot of these carriers super low, though, and actually it's going to be the recall back again as one of the carriers sticks around. Thought it was going to change teams.
The recall there, saving nice as bacon. I tell you, Rex was like about to spiral that really hard if he could kill those carriers.
Ooh.
But as it is, if we could take a look at the units lost tab, that's going to tell us a lot about what just went down. And definitely going to be a little bit more close than maybe Nice would want. But it seems pretty damned close overall.
I thought, I think I saw Rex build like 17 Vipers there and then cancel a bunch of them. So maybe not the most efficient use of lava, but I don't think lava is what Rex is worried about at this point in time. 90 Spore Crawlers, that'll do it. I don't, you know, if you're losing drones at that point, then, you know, what can you do?
Indeed. Those Tempests very good for picking off Spore Crawlers. And technically, if you're very good with your control and you're already kind of pushing your opponent back and scaring them, you can start to like one-shot Vipers and stuff. If you have like, I think it's 6+3 Tempests. So that can be good. But 6 Tempests is incredibly expensive. And if the fight gets messy at all, they do almost nothing. They're dead weights. They just die. They're very soft, fragile, low DPS overall, very expensive. Their, you know, it's their 14 anti-air range. That's their ability to pick things off. It's their 10 anti-ground range, which is still pretty long. But they're going to be a slow, long-term efficiency unit. So simply by him having them in his army, Nice realizes he's got to play very carefully. And that's why he's building so much cannon battery. And he doesn't want to stray too far from that.
Meanwhile, Rex only now just kind of establishing those two bases towards the south side, not able to diversify his sources of income, whereas Nice, this man just has pretty much every base on his side of the map. He is not really suffering too much in terms of the income whatsoever. Rex not giving him too much trouble in that regard. Plus, you just look at Nice's bank right now. Yeah, Nice bank is so nice. So beautiful. As they dropped mass static, the minerals do actually sometimes run really low in these games. Mass baneling morphing there. So one thing we sometimes see is banelings just charging on the army, killing the High Templar, and then the air army dives in for the Zerg. That is a well-defended base. Oh my god, I would not want to attack that with Ultra Baneling. I would need a giant army. So Rex has got a pretty good little force. I don't think it's going to crack through that. Well, he's going to give it a crack anyway. Those are some pretty nice storms though. Majority of the Banelings do go down. And he makes it onto the Nexus where there was like 6 or 7 probes hanging around there. One Ultra. Let's see if he's able to perform a Herculean task right now. But end of the day, the probes get pulled away.
Hey, that's actually pretty nice. I'm surprised he cracked through so much static defense with the Banelings. I mean, it costs a bit of gas for mostly minerals here, but nonetheless, this is slowing down Nice's ability to mine this base. Means you might have an opportunity to take it down later. Does change targets, and of course, battery overcharge comes in and says, back to full shields with you, Nexus. No worries, I got you back, mate.
Yeah, you should see the transfer back down there. Almost got that done at the end of the day. Now he's starting to see a switch into the Dark Shrine. Was possibly the one piece of tech that Nice did not have. Are we going to see any 8 DT little hit squad there to snipe some hatches?
Oof. Storms are so effective here, and I think it's time to stop attacking down this bottom side because there's going to be more Archons and Storms waiting because it's becoming a little bit too predictable. Now, Broodlords, though, that can be really effective, right? If you actually siege with Broodlords, could be really nice. Looks like he's sending his queens and a single Broodlord down here.
110 spawns. The number just keeps climbing. Do see some pick-offs though. This is where these Tempests can get really good value. I mean, essentially that's what it boils down to. We're down to a game of cost efficiency here between these two players.
Yeah, +3 plasma shields about to finish, +3 air armor on the way for Rex finish, as well as +2 range. This is a really interesting game because it's very much when you attack, you clump up. You clump up as Protoss, you're walking into fungal growth, locks you in position, parasitic bomb, bam, blasts your air units down. And that also has the capability to kill interceptors very quickly, right? Where sometimes you fly your corruptors right on top of their units that are parasitic bombed, and the interceptors, as they attack the corruptors, they actually kill themselves on the parasitic bomb. On the other hand, if the Zerg attacks too far forward, their units clump up a lot here in the StarCraft engine. They just pack in so tightly, which means Psystorms will blanket you and you'll get absolutely blitzed down. So both players are wanting to find the advantageous fight, and Void Rays come forward, trying to get the Broodlords, but the Spores and the Queens defend quite well for now.
Trying to pull... Ooh, that is a recall. Slightly out of position Protoss army. Couple of carriers do get picked off, but Nice is going to wipe away those losses with all of his money. 9k minerals and 7k gas for the man. Not too concerned about that.
Good trades, though. And I think my one concern for Rex is that he hasn't started mining the gas off this other bottom base in the bottom middle. And transferring drones and mining those out is very important. Because if he loses control of that after, you know, having it for 5 minutes and not using it, it's going to be a real bummer for him.
Those are some great little transfuses there to keep those Broodlords alive. And just a couple of Broodlords being actually pretty annoying for Nice. It just gives him this amount of inevitability that forces Nice to respond, forces him to do something about it. Meanwhile, Corruptor's going up towards the top side there, looking to potentially snipe that base, but a lot of cannons there, as well as a Tempest in position, making think twice about it.
Yeah, 27 cannons, batteries, and a bunch of High Templar. I think a wise choice to pull back there. Oh my gosh, these transfuses are sick. These Stalkers keep trying to punish, and the Queens are just like, get out of here. Now, Ultra's standing ready. The Spine, the Spores. Stalkers keep trying to jump on this. Unfortunately, the Spores and the Spines are actually blocking the Ultra, so whenever it goes to fight, it's got to go around that piece of terrain, around the top, and that's why it's not really punishing the Stalkers as much as it should.
Another blink in. Does actually pick one of them off. Finally, low enough energy on those Queens to get rid of all of this army. Decent Storms do blanket the majority of the Queens, and finally that last Broodlord does get taken out, but after all said and done, the Ultra just comes in there and cleans up the rest of the gateway units, and the siege is over. Cost efficient wise, I mean, there really hasn't been that much lost for these players in terms of that trade. Just a little bit there.
A lot better for Rex so far, though, these last few minutes of this game. I mean, cost for cost, he's winning these trades. Does have to make sure he doesn't get caught out, though. You see here, this moment, suddenly it's like, bam, a bunch of Queens, a Spine goes down. That's the power of those Protoss Warpins. He can actually refill faster than you. We always think of Zerg as the sudden Remax, the sudden producing race. The Infestors try to protect these Broodlords. Oh, but there's just nothing on the ground. Got to keep some Lings, some Ultras around. A couple of Broodlords and a couple of Infestors go down. Now these Broodlords going to try and take out this Archon as well. And they're going to try and continue this siege on the south side of the map. This is a great way of chipping away at Nice. And yeah, I wonder how that last bit of the battle went. I think I do love that battle report mod that we've got, because it kind of shows the evolution. So yeah, it's still 10,000 to 6,000 in Rex favor there. And look at that. Fungal. Oh, Infestor Broodlord. Yield combo of greatness.
Oh, I thought I never wanted to see it again. And even just in the small numbers here, it's been pretty cost efficient. And it's interesting, Stalkers being the choice, the Blink Stalkers, in terms of just trying to be cost efficient and just go in with these small numbers. And obviously all of these high yield units that cost a lot for Rex to be able to produce are all armored for the most part. So that's why you see the Blink Stalkers being able to mobile, get in there, try to snipe a few of those high cost units, and then just get straight out.
You're talking about a reset earlier, and if that's possible, well, I mean, I think Zerglings would be amazing right now. Just 20 Zerglings, you know, is I think as Rex, you've got more than enough drones. The map's starting to mine out. A handful of Zerglings kind of negates these Stalkers. These Stalkers are way more expensive than Zerglings. They cost a lot of gas and a lot of minerals. And just having some Lings, they're the highest damage unit in the game, and they absolutely annihilate Stalkers. So it's kind of unfortunate for Rex that he's let Nice push him back here, but that time the Fungal Blinding Cloud combo says, nah, all those Stalkers, I think they only got one Broodlord that time. That was an awesome trade for Rex.
Yep. And unfortunately, with the loss of all those Stalkers, that's where these Broodlords can start to siege up this base towards the bottom left-hand side, just giving that inevitability.
I'm going to ask you, I mean, you're absolutely analyzing this correctly, Pilsky. I'm going to ask you, because I'm at a bit of a loss. At some point, do you think Nice is going to bring his army over here? Or is he just going to be adamant about defending with Stalker Warpins?
I don't
know. This is hopelessly inefficient. This can't be a good choice. His army is AFK, just sitting up in the top center of the map doing nothing.
Well, what's the reasoning for that? Is he worried that you'll get the Corruptor zoom up there and zap one of his Nexuses? But even at that point, like, what income are you really getting out of that?
Yeah, I mean, that base is not as important as this one, and that's where all of his high-tech units are. I mean, I'm flabbergasted. His Tempest should be picking away at this from the safety of these cannons and batteries, but he's just throwing Stalkers into it. Has Nice forgotten about his army? It's really bizarre that he's sticking to this, especially when Rex has shown he's dealing with it so efficiently. Nice, the king of Taiwan here, apparently giving himself a challenge run. He wants to use 20 army supply at a time of just Blink Stalkers against his opponent's high-tech, super sophisticated force. I don't care how good you are, mate. Peasants with pitchforks ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah, and now we finally, I mean, we were talking about the battery coverage. We were talking about all of those cannons, Nice abducts onto those Oracles, do take it out, and you can forget about that base. There's still a lot of minerals there, man. There's still gas there to be mined, and unfortunately, Nice does not have access to that income anymore, so Rex, maybe a bit of an economic edge. Actually, he's going to take over that base for himself and get mining.
Wow, that's actually such a big win. If he can even mine that, I mean, he's already been trading so well the last few minutes. That being said, Nice does have a lot more gas in the bank than Rex. So we got to keep that in mind. These Stalkers now going to move across for a bit of an attack on the north side, realizing it's very immobile for the Zerg right now. Oh, I mean, those aren't immobile. Those are super mobile units. But actually, Stalkers do kick the butt of Stalkers. Look at of Ultras. The Stalkers just picking off Ultras with Stutter Step, Focus Fire. You need Fungal or Zerglings or something to wrap around them. So Zerglings are now on the way. The Banelings and Lings are trying to protect the Spore Crawlers a little bit, trying to scare the Stalkers back. But wise moves there by Nice to just say, okay, let's use the mobility and clear these spore fields out. That's going to open up avenues for our carriers and Tempest to push through later.
Well, Rex is hamstringing the economy right now. Nice. He's utilizing these Stalkers to clear a lot of spores. And you did mention it. Obviously, the Lings are coming out to deal with that finally. But my thought was, if he kills enough spores, is he able to have a stronger army at some point where he can just take a heads-up fight and win it without the static defense underneath? Or, I mean, it's still 105, but if there's not, I mean,
yeah, I mean, if he can open up an area, because there's a lot of map to cover. It's not like it's 105 spores in one place, right? So I think the bottom left is probably the most important area to retake, and I think the bottom middle base is still very fresh for Rex. I actually think he has way more gas to mine on that base, and that's. So this gas bank, you might think Nice is winning because of that, but as long as Rex mines that bottom middle base, let alone the bottom left, I think he's okay. Lots of Broodlords getting picked off by the Tempests, though, and that does add up and starts to slow things down. Rex is going into more Ultras now, and that's going to give him a bit more mobility. Ooh, Archon Stalker on the right side. That's a tough cookie to crack. Zerglings ain't going to be very useful against that.
Starting to see some adaptations in terms of the unit comps. Nice, just getting a lot of value out of these armor-penetrating Stalkers, and then obviously the Archon's so good against all of the biological. That's a lot of spores going down. Does not want to necessarily get this army caught as the Ultras do come in. All of those Archons going to go down, but still plenty of gas in the bank.
Yep, does clean those up, pulls back for now. And more Archons warping in. Nice is warping in DT Archons because they are cheaper on gas. He's making a conscious decision saying, look, I'm going to have minerals for days left over. We're just going to make the really expensive on minerals but cheap on gas ones. Adding in a Void Ray as well for some anti-corruptor to his army. But Rex is just replacing spores constantly. Trying to mine out this bottom left base because remember, every mineral mine from there is not just a mineral you get, it's a mineral you deny your opponent from getting. So Rex, he can kind of trade inefficiently over here as long as he mines this base out. If we get a mineral check and gas check on that bottom left base, that's really important, is how long does Rex need to hold this base to mine it out? So looks like the minerals are super fresh and the gases actually have a lot of gas. They're both about half full as well. So there's still a couple thousand gas and like 10, I don't know, maybe 8,000 minerals left on that base. So that's a very valuable expansion. Rex can afford to lose like 50 Spore Crawlers defending that.
So Rex morphing a whole bunch more Broodlords. Those have kind of been his ticket to win this game. He's just taking it one base at a time. Now starting to siege up towards his top right-hand side as he's migrating the spores up underneath to provide excess support. Nice making a conscious decision to move away from the Stalkers for the most part and start to siege some of his static defense with the Tempest, but unfortunately those Tempests being over towards the left side and preoccupied means that he's going to start losing the last couple of bases of income up towards his top side here.
Yeah, I like this rotation of the Broodlords. They're going to just smash through these top bases. That top middle base, and even Uraling to steal the Archons and use them against him. Now the cannon battery is clearing out some of these Ultras. The battery is keeping the cannons alive for a while. And Rex does end up losing this very valuable bottom left base as a result of this. So that really puts the pressure on Rex to actually make this trade worth it and kill this top middle base and kill it soon. I don't think there's an answer here right now, but Nice. He might be able to push further in. If he can take out the 6 o'clock base in return for losing the 12 o'clock, I think this is an okay trade for Nice. Nice can then retake the bottom left side and potentially come out on top of this trade.
More carriers in production for Nice, making the conscious decision to invest in those as opposed to some of these Tempests that he's been using to siege. Will probably need to get rid of a few more tumors if he wants to get some more value mining out towards that bottom base. But in terms of income, Nice really doesn't have anything to his name at this point until he gets that bottom left side base mining.
Still only +1 ground armor for Nice in the upgrades, so definitely not the best upgraded Zealots and Stalkers if we're going to be making those again, which I think he's moved away from now. And right now those banks, both of them, looking a little bit depleted from where they were earlier on, but still enough for a hefty remax. Oh, a couple of the ducks come in. Oh, feedbacks do pop an Infestor there. Ow, a couple of Infestors going down, but does force them more. And it looks like the Lings and the Banelings a little inefficient there on those Archons. Confirms a few kills, but it's all about efficiency, so you got to be careful throwing those Banelings away.
Sneaky from Rex. Just trying to get a little bit more value out of that top side base and sneak some minerals if he can. If he keeps this Protoss army preoccupied over here on towards the left side, finally seeing the full heads-on engagement. All the Corruptors just trying to snipe the carriers, and they're doing a pretty good job. That cloud of Corruptors just doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
They're dominating this fight. I mean, the Neurals were so good because he stole a few carriers and really distracted him. And now look how many of these air units are going down. The Stalkers are going to try to come in and turn this around, but they're not. I mean, they might barely overwhelm the Broodlords, but it looks like no, not even that. The Broodlords win that fight. The Corruptors are going to kill every single air unit. Now that's a lot of cannons, so they do have to be careful, but this is so worth. Rex just clears the entire army. And what an absolute clinic on efficiency. This is so well played. And look, I said, what did I say before? I said, oh, Rex just runs, you know, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing past the mid game sometimes. I want to see if he can do something past the mid game, have some. I wasn't thinking end game, but this is fantastic end game from Rex. Covered the map in spores. His spellcaster usage is fantastic. I'm blown away. This is a new Rex. This is awesome.
Well, Corruptors dominating the fight. You saw the switch into Void Ray Stalkers, which are not good against the all of the Zerglings and the Ultras that Rex has been pumping out of his hatcheries for this next wave of attack. And I think it's safe to say here that Nice is kind of on his last legs, holding on towards this left side. He has no sources of income left to him. Rex has got that top base. Rex is continually contesting this left side and not allowing him to have that bottom left base. So if Nice doesn't get it done with these units, then he's pretty much done for. Both players actually really running low on resources now.
Rex is looking so fantastic, man. This is just so brilliantly done. There's his mix of Broodlord and Infestor to deal with ground units, Corruptor Viper in the air, the Infestors coming in burrowed in that battle and using a bunch of Neurals. Oh, I'm just so impressed. This is really, really cool to see that Rex can take Nice on in at this stage. Now, I do think we have to question the Stalker usage from Nice. Just going to that a bit too much. I do think he needed to be trying to push through the spore fields a little bit more with those Tempers a bit more actively. 121. Oh my lord, that's a lot of Stalkers to have lost.
That's crazy. Oh man. I'm bad at math, but I know that's pretty insane. All right.
That's a lot of moolah. That's all I know, man. It's a ton of cash that went into those, and it's just the inactivity of the rest of his army while it was happening. That was, I think, the real bummer, right? It's if his other air army like scooted around the top edge of the map and killed a base or something, that would have been something different, and that also probably would have opened up the opportunity to stress Rex out, where Rex would have had other things to worry about. Whereas remember what we saw down that bottom side was Rex landing perfect fungals, perfect Broodlord micro, blinding clouds even. That's why the Stalkers were so ineffective. So I think Nice, he just needed to do more at that stage instead of bleed out so many units. Whereas Rex, it was just this methodical crawl across the map, you know, the inexorable creep of literal creep spread, but backed up by over 100 spore crawlers.
Rex has some income at least at the moment. Minerals and gas moving in some direction. He's even adding some workers. Got about 40 workers. Nice has given up on the economy game. Just trying to get it done. Blink Stalkers against the world. Picking up some more static defense. I was a little bit worried for Rex in one of those fights because his Infestors were pretty low on energy. And I was looking at that cloud of Void Rays. But I think he's pretty good now. Starting to bank up a little bit more energy on a couple of those Infestors in case the Stalkers or the Void Rays do get a little bit antsy.
Nice is just hanging in there, looking for some big mistakes, but not going to find him. Rex has shown a really methodical way of finishing this, and he's going to keep doing it.
Still got a lot of Templars with some energy. Those are what the Void Rays are definitely looking for. But actually, the Ultra's not dying as fast as I expected to that many Void Rays. Only gets 2 of them before they're able to get away there.
Yeah, Void Rays do a lot of damage, but they shoot insanely fast, right? And they didn't turn on Prismatic Alignment because they knew it would slow them down so the Ultras could escape. But it's almost pure Void Ray army, so you just need lots of Fungal and Parasitic Bomb burst. Oh, so he tried to lure the anti-air to the top with the Void Rays and then quickly recall, and he wanted to jump on the Broodlords and kill them while Rex was out of position. A clever idea. Unfortunately for him, Rex was like, dude, that top right is mined out. He's like, I don't need it. I just need to keep my army together here, and I'm going to slowly pick you apart. So the Stalkers blink in, and 8 Stalkers for a Viper. Not a pretty trade.
Void Rays going to try to dive in and get something done, but that is just way too many Corruptors. A beautiful game from Rex being displayed so far, you know, even with the Prismatic Alignment, getting a lot of work done. I mean, you still have a bit of a bank there. Nice going to call GG, and Rex, a 38-minute game is what it required. I think about 1,000 Spore Crawlers, but he gets it done in the end, and he's going to push us through to a 3rd map there, Pig.
Indeed, and that's the 3rd map I've been hoping for. I mean, you know, man, I've been basically hipster man all night tonight with my predictions, and I'd like to get one right. I've really been hyped up, honestly, just watching Rex play his Zerg versus Terran. I think it was like maybe a month or 2 ago, I saw him play a really close series versus Cure, where he beat him in a Lingbane Muta Macro game, which nobody does. Cure's so good in that matchup, and I was like, oh, I'm so used to watching you get, you know, kind of outclassed by Hass and Nice, and they never let you play your game. And that's why you're not able to look as incredible as you really are as a player. But Rex is fantastic, man. He's such a good player. I mean, dude, how quick he was with the Fungal Parasitic Bomb here. The fight starts. A Nice army was like already on half-life.
I mean, Rex, I feel like he just had a good read on exactly what he needed to do in that game. And it was basically like Rex with 5 or 6 Broodlords just winning the game and taking the right engagement at the right time. And after enough like war of attrition over this left side of the map and just, you know, keeping the majority of his income safe with static defense, he was able to win that game pretty convincingly. I mean, maybe if a different unit choice for Nice would have got it done, maybe, you know, not even making it to this point in the game. I feel like Nice, more commitment to Adepts or more commitment to Oracles probably would have killed him, but maybe that's what we'll see from game number 3, a bit more of a return to the norm rather than going into an ultra late game macro kind of situation, because I've seen many a game of Nice in the 2 times I've casted this region of him just going and killing a Zerg before he gets past up towards that Hive Tech.
Yeah, I think that's pretty sound advice. I think going 2000 Atmos, I think we said was map 3, so that's one where we very much expect it as well. I've seen him do a lot of Colossus play on that map, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see more, you know, Oracle Adept opening, but stopping at, you know, 3 or 4 Stargate units and transitioning onwards from there. Actually, he has been doing a lot of this triple Oracle and even sometimes 4 Oracles. So yeah, keep the pressure going early and don't let Rex get to that point, because apparently Rex really knows what he's doing in the end game.
Yeah, did a super good job there. Even in his versus Terran series, he was quite comfortable just chilling, going straight back up towards mutas or whatever he wanted to go, getting on towards those 3 to 4 bases, getting the creep speed rolling for himself. So really feels like he wants to just sit back there on a couple of those hatches and get himself into a comfortable point in the game. And I'm eager to see if he's able to get himself towards that game state yet again, and if he's going to be able to defend well enough to get there.
Indeed. It's going to be an interesting one here, as Rex has kind of already proved that he's got the cojones to go into the long game, but getting there against a Nice who's a little bit more active is maybe a different thing. I think what we really have to appreciate there is the late game skill was there, but also Rex's ability to read the situation and just go straight to that giant economy. I don't think we're going to have such a passive setup on this map because it's not as easy to secure your expansions. And we expect this man to get a little more aggressive. Let's see what he does. In the top right, in the blue, representing Good Game Gaming. It's nice.
And over here in the bottom left-hand side, a man who's looking to try to cause the upset here. He killed, what was it, 137 Stalkers last game. It is the Red Zerg Rex.
It would be really cool if he won a season and we actually got to call the guy whose name means king, the king, for once in this region, rather than the perennial 3rd or 4th place. You know, Rex is a very solid, well-rounded player, but getting kind of a handle on this matchup, especially since the Void Ray meta came about and Protoss really evolved their play around Void Rays and Shield Battery Overcharge. It's been something that's taken a while for Zergs to adapt to, but it seems like Rex has a handle on what's going on and he's figuring it all out now.
No block. So he's going to get his preferred natural location. As you do see, nice doing the normal sort of macro dance. 3rd hatch for Rex here pretty quickly before he's going to get those 2 queens rolling. So looking like a pretty standard sort of situation. Nicest probe heading over there on towards the left side of the map. So eager to see if it gets up to any funky business over here, and down goes the pylon.
I like opening up with a little bit of a cheeky super quick Oracle into the main. It's kind of interesting the position of that, because that looks like it'll get depowered really easily once it gets found.
There we go. Stargate, Oracle. It's going to be the pressure from Nice. Hasn't forced a weird 3rd base location early on, but still looking to pull his opponent apart if possible.
Oh, you know what? Rex has been looking every game, because Nice does a lot of proxy gates as well. He's actually been scouring the map every game. This is not just random chance. Rex knows his opponent, he's studied it, and oh wow, he's even going to double down on the pylon to get the Oracle out, but it already being spotted. There's 8 more Lings on the way to help clear this up. Adept's going to come over there, so I mean, he should be able to get an Oracle out. That's totally fine. Rex can just build an Overlord, drones, extra queens to help defend. He might not even need Spore Crawlers since he's building 2 extra queens, actually.
What a game for that kind of a read as well. It's riding off the momentum of that very, very long game that he won in the previous. Can be a bit soul-sucking to go to almost a 40-minute game and end up losing and having to play another game in the series. But if you come off of it winning, you feel a little bit better about your prospects normally.
Well, that Oracle is going to head in towards the main base. It should be very well prepared. Of course, Rex has committed to a lot of Zerglings. He's going to see if he can get in. There's 2 Adepts on this side of the map. He is not super duper well prepared, but actually, he's already taken down one of the Adepts and he's getting into the... Oh, nice wall off, but he can actually take the Cyber Core down with those Lings. There's nothing at home to defend from that. The Oracle is going to have to scramble back to try and defend. In the end, 5 workers go down. And emergency wall off going down for Nice, but the Oracle does arrive. Should be able to defend that.
Yep. Warpgate finishing up, and after all said and done, look, a couple of extra minerals invested there. But it's good to see Rex being the one to put Nice in a weird position, make his life a little bit more difficult rather than the opposite. And time and time again, these Lings just staying active are forcing the Oracles to use their energy and use their time elsewhere rather than zooming around in the drone line. So that's definitely going to help Rex out.
That was really well done by Nice as well to keep 1 pylon alive. Lets his 3rd Oracle pop, as well as keeps him away from the supply block for a little bit longer. These 2 Adepts will get in while those Oracles and the Stargate distract. And oh, it's just non-stop. Even when his Stargate gets scouted, Nice is such a fluid Adept Oracle player. I remember when Neeb was probably the best PvZ player in the world, and the one thing that defined his PvZ was just better Adept Oracle harass than anybody else. And I think that's what's defining Nice in this matchup. This is his best matchup, and we're seeing why. It's because lasers! The drones get away from them for a moment. I mean, he's re-droning, he's trying to defend his Rex, but he still hasn't even depowered that Stargate, and despite the early scout, he's getting very frustrated here, hitting a big supply block.
Oh. You have that Nexus to follow up at similar timing towards that first game. Meanwhile, you'd see a Phoenix rather than a Void Ray popping out, so want something a little bit more mobile to harass the Overlords and keep that map control in tandem with the Oracles. Starting to see Lair, starting to see Roach Warren from Rex as he gets his third hatchery saturated a little bit more.
Not the fastest third there for Nice, but he's got 3 more Adepts on the way. There's not that many Zerglings at home, a few more building. If he could just shut down just one of these waves. I mean, Nice is sacrificing a lot of units to do this. This is not free.
A couple more drones going down.
Yeah, that's a good enough cleanup, though. 3 drones to 3 Adepts are a good defense by Rex, so it's kind of unfortunate. There's just something that's tilting about finding a Stargate and ending up even with your opponent. You're like, come on, man, I'm meant to be ahead after this. But Nice just keeps finding damage. I mean, his tech's so late behind it. He doesn't... Okay, he's got his Forge, his +1 and Blink starting now. But I mean, worker-wise, overall position-wise, it feels like it's stabilized out a little bit. It's always a bit hard to read these sort of games because there's usually like both sides are a little behind on some of the things that they would normally have by now. But to me, this looks pretty darn even.
Well, no glaive this time from Nice. Instead, after Twilight finishes up, he's going into Blink and upgrades and adding a whole bunch more gateways. So maybe some Blink pressure coming in here. 6 gates being added in there as the third gets saturated on minerals alone. No gas being added just yet. So this looks like a whole lot of units are heading Rex's way, and he needs to be ready for that.
So Ravager Bane up against Blink is going to be a good matchup compositionally for Rex on the defense. But you can't really attack and break your opponent. So if you attack with Ravager Bane versus Stalker, Sentry, Colossus, that sort of style, it's almost impossible to break them because the Stalkers can just kind of fall back between the batteries and the cannons really well. So I think Rex is well set up to kind of go to the next step, drone his 4th base. The question is, how does he finish this game? Because this sort of situation... Oh my god, look at how many sentries he's got. Jeez. Oh, he's going to go right now. Are there any Ravagers made? There's 3 that just finished. He's going to need so many Ravagers. That's so many force fields available. Oh my lord, that is a wild push here from Nice. Rex does have a decent-sized army. The question is, can he handle the force fields?
This is a throwback, dude. I feel like we're watching an MC game from yesteryear right now. This is going to be spamming force fields and upgraded Blink Stalkers dishing out the hurt right now.
That's a great catch from Nice, who goes to Robo Bay now. Kind of threatens that push and then falls back. I mean, that's such late Colossus tech, though. Silence charge as well. But Rex is only on 68 workers, so they're both kind of locked in this. This is absolutely game 3 of a best of 3, right? It's that point where both players are like making these big armies and throwing them towards each other, but then pulling back, realizing they can't quite kill them. And you're ending up in this position where it's like all the tech is so slowed down. Both players are taking damage. They're constantly skirmishing all around the map. And I think as it goes on, you know, Nice is going to add the armies that just absolutely grow in power. Colossus, Archons. It's going to become a crazy death ball. Roach Ravager Bane will not do good against that. The Infestation Pit, though, is half done. And that gives me hope that Rex... I mean, I actually think Broodlords would be pretty fantastic. Ultra Transition is great against Stalker styles, as we've seen. So I think there's a lot of options that allow you to go to the late game here as Rex. But if he just kind of maxes on Roach Ravager Ling Bane... It can get a little hard if Nice finds that right engagement, and with endless force fields, he almost certainly will.
Well, again, just so much value out of these Oracles. Finally, what, 9 minutes 30 into the game, one of them goes down. Even going to get himself a Ravager. Ooh, nice transfuse. Just to be able to save it. Second Robo rather finishing up. You do obviously have the Dark Shrine coming out as well, so could start to see some shenanigans where a little bit more harassment gets in, or some hatches get sniped. That's actually the thing that this series has missed so far, getting to this stage of the game and seeing a little bit more of the charge lot run bys and DT harassment, as opposed to you know, the game just ending with Adepts or going into the whatever happened last game.
Prism in the top left, waiting with those zealots, ready to start harassing the left side of the map. Could be a big thing to finally open up some harassment, because Rex has had so much map control. Notice he doesn't have overlords or anything out on the edges of the map, right? He's not going to see that Prism until it actually enters his base. He's going Hive right now, but he's already maxed and he's not able to trade. And this is that scary point I was talking about. You max on Roach Ravager Bane. If you're not able to trade it off, well, what do you do with this army? It's not that good. Rex is building a lot more drones. He's making lots of spines. He's trying to make sure that he can't die here. But Ultra Cavern goes down. I think Vipers are actually the game changer. I think 1 or 2 Blinding Clouds or a couple of Abducts on the Colossi absolutely could win you the game. I think if you don't have those things, though, there is a point, even right now, where this is so scary. I mean, if this Colossus push comes out with 5 Colossi, I almost feel like Rex has to base trade. I don't think he can fight this front on with just Roaches and Zerglings.
Oh, he's trying to trade all those Banes up towards the top side. Wants to try to suicide them on towards his Nexus and get as much damage as he can possibly get done. But all of the probes just evacuating.
That is a lot of Banelings, and that is actually severely weakening his army. All this does is strengthen Nice's push. I talked about how on this map, big Colossus Archon Max is so scary. And what's he building? 1 Ultralisk. Rex needs to back base trade this. Like, this army's going to come across the map. I don't think he can defend it.
Do you see speed upgrade for the Prism? Nice, going to start to step out onto the creep. Isn't able to clear any of it up. Doesn't actually have an observer mixed in towards his main army, but now starts to siege this south base of Rex, who is at base trading at this point. He's kind of jostling for position. Nice, trying to split up his attention. He has got a Zealot attacking towards the top side and in the main. And now he's going to shove towards the hatch as well here, Pig.
This is a very nice way of setting up Stasis Trap to watch for the flank. Archons and Force Fields for days. A lot of Banelings coming in. The Ultra does crush the Force Field on the left. Banelings coming in from the top in a big way, and Rex finds the engage that he needed. Those Banelings actually get on the Colossus Stalker, and here I was doubting it the whole time, but dude, when those Banelings came to bear, that Ultra crashed the Force Fields through. Dude, that was a crushing fight for Rex, but he's taking damage in the economy behind it.
Yeah, needs to try to get these Zealot Warpins under control. 60 Lings in production. The majority of them not being used to try to step forward and take advantage of the situation that he's found himself in and potentially try to get across the map and make something happen, while Nice hasn't been able to get his Robo units out. In fact, both of the Robos active making Immortals at the moment. No Colossus in production, no Disruptors or anything like that.
Oh my god, the value of these oracles. As nice, you're so happy with these. He's lost 1. These 2 have just been around since the start of the game. They're just
out of
around.
The proxy Stargate that got scouted as well.
yes, I forgot about that. What the heck?
Oh god.
Oh my lord. Rex is setting up a Baneling run by on the left while his army goes in on the right. I think this is a great maneuver. I think he should mostly go into the third, but maybe send some of them into the natural at the same time. Rex's economy, 72 workers. It's not gigantic, but he's got a good army. He's still up 50 supply. Doesn't have any carapace upgrades. He's starting a second Evo chamber now. I think he's got adrenal glands. Banelings come in. Oh, but you've got to do this in tandem with something else. On its own, opponent's always ready.
Well, quality of Rex's army definitely looking a little bit better than before. He's definitely mixing in a couple more Ultras, and he's gotten himself quite a bit of room to establish himself a bunch of bases, grabs himself the Spire as well. So potentially can even push it to the later game, where we've seen he's quite proficient in that last game.
All about the Viper usage. There's not that much supporting the Immortals, but Immortals are very good units. Nice Blinding Cloud to start, but he stutter steps out of it. And there's not that much Ultraling Bane behind this. He's got a big army on the top left, so Rex needs to bring that in and probably flank or sandwich this army for now. The Vipers come forward, and they do drop a very nice Blinding Cloud, but this is still not that big a Zerg army right now. Just a couple of Ultras, Transfuses landing. Flank comes in from the north, but there's only a handful of units left for Nice, and I think Rex might actually have done it with that flank coming in from the north. He's going to clean up the last of these power units. Now with a nice, only on 4 bases, he loses his entire army there. Only 1 Immortal gets out. And oh my lord, Rex may actually be going out of this group in first place.
Oh my lord. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know what to say, Pig. I think I need to buy you like a tote bag and a jumper with some holes in it and stuff, because the hipster prediction,
dude.
It's coming clutch.
My loafers with no socks. I mean, I told you, I felt it, man. I felt it. I liked Rex before it was cool. I voted for him when you normies, you and Maynard were like, no, Nice is going to beat Rex easily. It's going to be a 2-0. No. Rex is our boss, and he's the new competitor, the new contender in this region. Dude, this is such a great way to start off the group stage for him.
It's been a great night at the office for Rex. He's taken out Expect 2-0 already. Now taking out, just the 3-time champion of the region. And looking to finally take this 3rd game here. 2 very impressive games back-to-back up against this Protoss player. Rex really just looking for the right angle here. Production tab kind of says it all. Quite a lot going on for Rex. Not really much going on at home for Nice.
Great Aspire is going to come in. You know, it's this army specialized to defend Lingbane Ultra. Archons to deal with the Lingbane. Immortals to deal with the Ultras. And nothing that really shoots up. Other than Archons. And they're, it's like a Tyrannosaurus trying to grab a helicopter out of the sky. It's like, oh, come on. That's just sad, mate. It's not going to work. Archons have such short range. Oracle still killing Ravagers. That's like the 14th Ravager that's died to Oracles this game. Nice snipe on the hatchery. That's a cute one there from Nice. Still finding ways to do bits of damage, and he's built a bloody scary army. How is he still in this game? Nice is so solid, and he's still got a chance here. There's a lot of Lingbane, and there's a lot of Storm Arc on there.
Yeah,
I think this
Rex,
is a wise pullback.
He's losing his bases, which give him a big access to sources of income here. Needs to make sure that he doesn't put himself in a losing position. He's done a lot of great work so far, but actually Rex going to use this as an opportunity to flank the entirety of that Protoss army. The hatchery was mere bait for all of these Ravagers to collapse upon the Archons, and they're going to take the majority of those out. The Immortals are just so cost efficient though. Oh my god, how is he winning this engagement?
Oh, I mean, he loses a lot of units still. He's trying to take this rich gas base here on the right side, and that looks like it will get denied. Rex also has some Broodlords out. And remember, there's nothing really that shoots up, so those Broodlords should be the trump card here. If he can deny this base. 7 Stalkers. Actually, he has Blink, doesn't he? I think he made Blink earlier in this game because he was on a big Stalker army. So they actually are not a bad answer to Broodlords. Broodlords have very little support right now. Oh my god, if he can get rid of the Broodlords and hold this base, Nice still has a shot in this game.
Oh, clutch transfuses though, keeping that one Broodlord alive and just giving enough time for a couple of Ravagers to chew through a couple of Stalkers here. Nice finally accepts he's not going to be able to get access to that rich gas base, going to instead try to fall back and defend his one of his last sources of income here. Rex, he's going on the front foot, but he just really doesn't have any income. He lost that bottom center base, still hasn't been replaced. He's only just started to resaturate that left side base and hasn't got gases on there yet, so his income not really doing so great. 25 out of 16 on that one hatchery there. Really just sort of trying to flex on these couple of Broodlords to get the damage done that he needs to. But he needs to try to re-establish a couple more bases for himself so he can get some income.
Yeah, without those that income, it's always a little dicey. Those Broodlords going to start to rain from afar, but there's only 3. It's a long-range little artillery squad slingshotting the Broodlings in, but they're still kind of afraid. The Queen's not very mobile. The Stalkers come forward, and 2 Broodlords disappear in the blink of an eye. The Ravagers trying to fight. Banelings trying to morph on the front. At this point, there's only 1 Broodlord left. Might be worth giving up this position for Rex, as Nice just coming forward and taking out so many of these valuable units. The Banelings do clear 1 or 2 of the High Templar. The Stalkers are very weak, but this whole army gets cleared. Oh man, this is still so close. Nice is going to take out every single Ravager. The Ling Rally coming in. A handful of Protoss units survive, but there's only Dregs for the Zerg as well. Roaches, Queens, Zerglings, Banelings being remade. The Protoss Nice making Zealots, and he is coming across this map. He knows he's almost out of income. He's got to push in and capitalize on this right now.
You see a lot of Roaches in towards that production tab. trying to rally just enough units to be able to defend this, but gateway units, just a couple of Blinkstalkers being really cost efficient. That's one of Rex's last couple of sources of income over here towards this left side. You can see Nice just trying to hamstring his economy, stop him from being able to mine anything.
Dude, these roaches, they're coming out in small numbers. They're getting caught. He needs to fight with his drones as well, which you don't want to do against Protoss. I mean, drones aren't going to do good against Zealots or Archons, but he's going to need to pull them at some point, and he's just struggling to get the rallies. The mobility here of the Zealot Stalker is just jumping around and catching his roaches as they pop out in small numbers. Here we go. A good squad of roaches gets together on the left side, but he's got to bring them in from the right as well, and that Zealot count is incredibly scary. The Stalkers, the Zealots, the Archons are going to try and isolate this base on the right side. There's about 20 drones over there. They get rid of those, it'll be huge.
Yep. It's going to be able to take that out. No problems. No questions asked. Drones will probably go down to boot, and that is no small amount of drones. Like, at this stage in the game, 55 workers going to go down to like 30-something, or 40-something rather. Whole bunch more links being chucked in there. But yeah, he still hasn't taken the gases on the left side. That, like, dude, it was like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, he's so up in army supply as well. Is nice. Like, I mean, look at this. Rex is trying to send lings across the map. He's like, where's your fifth base? Where's your fifth base? How do you have this many units? And the thing is, Nice is like, no, dude, I've just traded way better than you. I cannot believe Nice has resurrected himself. I have to dismount from my Rex hype train and hop over to the Nice carriage because, dude, look at it. A couple of Archon Stalkers, Zealots. He took out the Broodlords. He defended. He replaced. He pushed in. He managed to force the fight before Rex could reinforce that Ravager army. And it is actually Nice who's going to be able to take this game out now. He's trading so efficiently. He's losing no units. The economy now is, what, 30 drones for Rex versus 46 for Nice. He's got a fresh base on the top left of the map, but he doesn't have enough workers to fully utilize it.
There you go. We've come full circle. You do see Rex trying to dive in, trying to get something done. Stalkers were, unfortunately, what ended up kind of losing Nice that last game, and Stalkers will win him game number 3 in this series. I'm feeling the blink, the defensive blink back behind those Archons that could just shred the majority of these Zerglings, and once those aren't in the mix anymore, I dare say that these Stalkers are going to have a great time against all of the Roaches that are trying to get forward, trying to get on top of the rest of the Protoss army, but look at all of those Zealots being warped in.
Ooh. Little Roach Ravager Ball. Remember, it's a +1 Roach Ravager Ball versus +3 Blinkstalker Archon. No carapace upgrades, only +1 range. That's just better upgrades. And in the end, after an arduous, wild back and forth